Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Sky's the Limit. I am your host Umar Khalid Butt. Somebody once said, and I quote, "The aim of education is the knowledge not of facts but of values." Our guest in this very episode has taught us just that to complete our education we need to have a mixture not only of contemporary knowledge but also of religious knowledge. He started off by gaining contemporary knowledge and then expanded his knowledge by gaining what we call religious education as well, and has now opened an institution that teaches new students exactly that. His name is Sheikh Imran Sandhu and he's our guest in this very episode of Sky's the Limit. Stay tuned to know more about the person behind the personality. Welcome back, and now we've been joined by Fazilatul Sheikh Imran Sandhu Sahab. Sandhu Sahab, thank you very much to have given us the time.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you for calling me, having me over here.
Wa alaikum assalam. Sandhu Sahab, we'd like to know a lot about how you came to be who you are now with all that knowledge of the religion that you have and all the distribution of knowledge that you do through your different institutions. You were born in Lahore. You, if I'm not wrong, you are one of 4 brothers and sisters, in fact the eldest. Explain your growing up. Describe us the growing up process, the early years of your life.
I was born in Lahore, and when I came to understand things around me, I found myself in a very, very good family. My grandfather was an engineer, my father is a lawyer, my great-grandfather was an engineer. So I was born in a family that was pro-education. My great-grandfather was the chancellor of Patna University in India, rather vice chancellor. He had done his masters in chemistry, so he was a very self-made man. So with this kind of a family background, I was there to love education myself. So somehow I had an educational environment. My mother was a teacher. She retired after 30 years of services in Beacon House Public School and IMCG F74, a model college in Islamabad. So this is how I grew up.
In a very educational atmosphere where the emphasis used to be a lot on education.
Yeah, and my father would definitely do not leave us alone to play our time out. He was always focusing on our education. He wanted us to have or to go to the best schools. So I was admitted to Beacon House Public School. My mother actually taught in Presentation Convent as well as Beacon House Public School. So the overall environment that I grew in was very educational.
Who was the stricter of the two amongst the parents, your father or your mother?
I think my father was more strict as compared to my mother, but at times mother would also get strict on various things that she would want to see in myself. And then my father would also be very strict when it came to going to school, understanding the education that I was getting. My even great-grandfather was very particular about etiquettes.
You told us that you did your education from the Beacon House Public School, then you went to the Islamabad College for Boys and you did your FSc from there, and from there you went to the Punjab University. You did your bachelor's in commerce. From there, that the year was 94-95 if I'm not wrong, and after that you continue your education, but you want to go into commerce. You're more interested in doing commerce. Why commerce? Because the years that you describe where you were studying, the emphasis used to always be on, all right, either you become an engineer or you become a doctor. Commerce was something that was not really emphasized upon, was it?
commerce was just a ladder to chartered accountancy that I wanted to do. I wanted to build a base to become a chartered accountant. And why did I wanted to go and become a chartered accountant was that we knew that chartered accountants are paid very well for the services they give. Because normally the environment in our society is to build a career, and this career has to bring you some good fortune. This is the environment.
The right kind of dividends.
Right kind of dividends. So as all children would, or students would think that I should go and build a career that gives me more of dividends, more of luxuries of life. So I was like them, I tried to be a very good professional. And but the thing is, in my opinion, at that time that was quite necessary.
All right.
The consciousness that we gain as we grow, career development is quite necessary. But unfortunately, we don't have mentoring in this domain. We don't know what actually career development should mean. We'll talk about it later on. You can have my opinion on that.
But did you feel that when you were getting your education, and of course you were doing a bachelor's in commerce and you did your CA, that you did not get the required mentoring as to which field you need to go to and which field you are most suitable for? This was something that was lacking in your point of view.
Yeah, I think we are over commercialized. We are over commercialized from intellectual perspective, while everybody wants to earn more and work less. So this is the reason we don't have real mentors available. There might be mentors, there are mentors available, but not in that. They don't exist in abundance in the environment.
I understand that. All right, you did your CA from Ford Roads, Siddharth Haider, now EY Chartered Accountants. That was way back in 2001.
Yes, I completed my article
yes,
from there.
You've worked with the bigger companies that are in Pakistan present and were also the companies that were very notable at that time, and you worked for them. You were also the virtual COO for EXP Reality, that was a US based company. You've worked a lot as far as management consultancy, and of course operational and financial management is concerned. Was that a field that you were interested in while you were pursuing that career, or while you were in that career, or did you feel that there was something that was lacking in your life?
That's an interesting question that you've posed upon me. After the point of self-actualization was never reached, even though I've worked for almost 36,000 hours in various fields of management consultancy. I've provided services around the world. I've worked in Pakistan. I've worked outside of Pakistan. But I've got some very good reviews as well from my ex employers in Pakistan, outside of Pakistan. But that has never made me content, happy, self-actualized. There always was a need to be a better me. If you are a good professional, that's excellent. But then there are other things in life that one should care about. A man has been created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from a soul, from a mind, and from a body. So these are the three things that a human being is created from.
And all three things need to be catered to.
Yes. So excellence at every level. good career can definitely give you something in your mind, a good perception of your mind, good experience of your mind. But then there are other intellectual experiences as well.
You need to go through to understand yourself better as a person, because you are not only just made of a body, but you have a soul that needs to be nurtured as well.
When you earn a lot of materials, money, you know, if you are materially well off, that does not mean you are spiritually well off. Your soul has gone to the level that the level you want a human being has to achieve. For that purpose, you really need something that is larger than life.
But it's not easy, Sandhu Sahab, to achieve that. In the West, you see that the orientation, the inclination is not at all towards that. The balance isn't there. The tilt is towards only one thing: to get as much money, to be as financially stable as possible. They don't take care of how you need to also feel as a person, how your soul needs to be also revived, nurtured and properly educated, so that you balance both things out. Why is that in your point of view?
Let's not go to a point where we start differentiating between East and the West. You know, I've worked in the West, I've worked in the East. We've got very good people over here. We've got very good people over there as well. You know, I know I've worked with Glenn Sanford. He's a share professional. Look, you know, he was my boss. He was the CEO of a very big real estate company. I've seen such professional attitudes. But again, then I've worked with Muslims over there. I see a lot of soul management with them. They have managed their soul so well. They really care about us. So I would say, yes, we grow up in an environment that is by default a Muslim environment, and they grow up in an environment that is by default not a Muslim environment.
But do you feel that we kind of try to balance things out more in a Muslim environment than we do in a Christian or any other kind of an environment?
That's a difficult question to answer. You know, let me take you to another valley. I am a fan of Allama Iqbal rahmatullah alayh. Iqbal says that you know, we should give a very, you know, intellectual environment to understand religions. If you are not intellectually developed, you will not be able to understand what religion wanted to do, because Iqbal made a case of intellectualism to understand the religion. He compared those religions in a very, very good way. Like, for example, Christianity. Christianity focuses on original sin. In originality, human beings can sin. So, mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has to address that original nature of human beings. Right. And therefore, they created faith in which, you know, Isa alayhi salam would come and get those sins forgiven. Similarly, there are other religions that focus on pain, that, you know, pain and hardship comes and they ultimately purify human beings. So every religion has its own intellectual, but Iqbal then says Islam gives you a complete solution, a solution that can really make yourself grow to the best intellectual level. And he talks about Suratul Asr. He says, Wal Asr, Innal insana lafi khusr, illa alladhina amanu wa amilu salihat wa tawasaw bil haqqi wa tawasaw bis sabr. He says, no other religion gives this complete solution. Pain is natural, Sinning is natural, yes. You know, working hard is natural to make yourself a good person. But he says the number one thing that would give yourself aman inside of you, tranquility and peace inside of you is iman. The second thing, but here it doesn't end. Faith doesn't end the story. Then not only faith, then good deeds, amale saleh. And then it doesn't end over here. When you've got this faith, then you have started to practice good deeds. Watawasaw bil haqq. Then you have to stand by the right people. And then you have to be patient. So these are the four things that can make a human a human. You know, so if you see the other religions in comparison of these four things, either they lack patience, or they would lack you know, standing by the truth, or they would lack amale saleha. They've changed the way to worship. They would do shirk, these types of things. Like Christianity, they tried to, you know, lean towards making a human being the son of God. After making him a God, telling him that he would you know, have all your sins, you know, no matter what you do, you eat pork, you drink wine, you don't go to the church, he is going to come and help you out. But Islam on the other hand says no. You like Prophet Muhammad also said that, you know, to his daughter, that Fatima radiyallahu ta'ala an, I cannot help you unless you'll have your good deeds with you.
All right. In 2008, you had a Fazil of Dars-e-Nizami from Darul Uloom Karachi, with that is equivalent to Masters in Arabic and Masters in Islamiyat. Was this degree slowly and steadily that transition began in your personality?
It was a very slow transition. If somebody tells me to start this kind of a transition again, I will say no, I won't. I don't want to experience it again, because you know, when you go into a transition, a change, it is really something very difficult to ordain, difficult to experience. It's just like you get lost sometimes, and then you get demotivated sometimes. There were times when I didn't know what to do. Then again an incident would happen, and you know, I will start focusing back again, you know, because when it comes to religion, when it comes to, you know, doing good deeds, becoming a good Muslim, then sky is the limit.
That is true, but Imran Sandhu sir,
मोहब्बत मुझे उन जवानों से है सितारों पे जो
डालते हैं कमन. Imran Sandhu sir, when it comes to me, for example, the realization and the slow transition that it took also to start praying 5 times a day, or to read the Quran, or to understand the Quran, also came very slowly but very naturally. It was a transition as if it was just a chapter that was closing and another that was beginning. It was not something that I was doing deliberately. It was just happening slowly, and just as if somebody was guiding me that this is how it's going to be, this is how it's going to happen. Was it the same in your case as well? That automatic, natural transition?
You know, I felt something like I had choices to make, always. I had choices to make. You know, there were always other choices available. Then you have to ponder on it. Then you have to think through it. True. Make the right choice at that time. You know, when I was going for the madrasa, I also had a choice to go to the US at the same time. I had funds in my account. I had started the process of applying for a, you know, immigration visa to the US. I had a choice. If I'm damn sure that if I had made that choice, you know, life would have treated me differently. So thanks God, I made the right choice at the time.
All right.
So there are choices, like I would never say, and this is the right faith as well, the right aqidah. Like insan is not a majboor mahaz and a qadr mutlaq. Insan, like a human being has a degree of decision making, a degree of choice, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala helps you with your intention, with the choices you want to do, and then He determines your destiny.
So this also transition that we see in you, the beard that comes and the whole transition, that also came slowly and steadily.
Yeah, that were all choices. The day I, decided to keep my beard, I had actually, put some cream on my cheeks to shave, and I just, did like this as we used to do, and then I said, why I'm doing this? I must keep beard. It's the sunnah of Holy Prophet, and from that day onwards, I used to smoke when I was in college, and I left smoke by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by His help. But the second thing that happened after keeping a beard, look, I've kept the beard. Now I have to quit smoking as well. So I was there dressed in a pant shirt always. And the third thing that I had, it was slowly
a slow
and
transition,
slow
but a natural transition.
But there was a crossroad, I would say, that helped make this, transition close.
What was the crossroad?
That dream that I saw.
All right.
It is ultimately the source of guidance for all Muslims. The personality of Prophet Muhammad. لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ. So, after reading his sunnah, after reading his personality, after reading what he, like when we read him, his personality, literally we think that we are nothing in front of him. Nothing at all. We can dress like him, we can talk like him, try to talk like him, we can keep a beard like him, but we cannot be him. It's such a big destiny, the personality of Rasul. He was the best general the world has ever seen. He was the best leader that the world has ever seen. When he was being taken away by the angel of death, you remember that incident that he was saying that got 6 dirham in my house, give it in charity, so that I leave this world when I have nothing left in my house from the material world. So this was the kind of personality that we were given as an example, an exemplary personality. He was alone in Mecca, and he was given the prophethood, like when he came, and he was stopped by everyone, big leaders, but he stood on his belief firm, and he gradually talked to people. For 13 years he was criticized, but he was patient. So what kind of personality? If you read his biography, it really tells that we have much to learn.
How would you describe your marital life? Did it change you as a person?
I got married in 2003, and my father-in-law is now retired. At that time he was serving in Pakistan Atomic Energy Commission. He was the Director General of KNUP, Karachi Nuclear Power Plant. My wife had bachelor's biochemistry, and now she has done her master's after the marriage in Islamiyat, and now she is doing master's in education.
All right. So is your wife going to also participate in your?
She is my partner in everything that I do. We run the institution together. We do consultation together. She is my half life.
All right, mashallah. And you've got 6 kids. 3 of them Hafizul Quran.
Yeah, I've got six kids. One of the eldest one is Muhammad, and he's offering Taraweeh, leading Taraweeh with us in our Madrasa Dalum, and the other two, Musa and Isa, they are also Hafiz, and 3 more to do the Hifz of Quran, inshallah ta'ala.
MashaAllah, that's wonderful. Sandhu Sahab, you took a lot of certificates, you did a lot of studies as far as religion is concerned, whether it be the sanat of ijaza in hadith, in tafsir, usul and fiqh from Hazrat Mufti Azam Pakistan al-Sheikh, or the ijaza in ulumul hadith from Hazrat Sheikhul Islam, Justice retired Mufti Muhammad Taqi Usmani Sahab, or from Sheikh al-Mufti Hazrat Ashraf Ali Chandio Sahab, or from Sheikh al-Mufti Ashraf Ali Chandio Sahab. You took 2 different certificates from him, and from Sheikh Moulana Salimullah Khan Sahab, from Moulana Muhammad Abdul Halim al-Numani Sahab. What did these trainings teach you? Because you did them all in a stretch in the year 2013, if I'm not wrong.
Spirituality. One word, connecting the mind to the soul and connecting mind to the body. This is like, Quran is a spiritual set of knowledge. It's above intellect. We cannot, nobody, look, I'll give you an example, a logical example. If I ask you that who tailored this cloth, you would not be able to answer.
Because I don't know.
You don't know. So, the same perception is about this universe. We cannot reach out who created this universe. By experience, we can tell somebody created it, but who? It has to come through a messenger. If somebody comes and tell XYZ came and stitched this cloth, then I would only know. Similarly, this spiritual knowledge tells us who created this, why it was created, and when and what, how do we use it, how do we live in it, and who created us, and what was the purpose of our creation. So, the spiritual knowledge comes on the spirit, then the spirit connects to the intellect, and then this intellect connects to your body. So, these mentors of mine, these great teachers of mine, what they have taught me to connect my spirit to my intellect, and then my intellect to my body. Normally, when you go to material sciences, the process is the other way around. The spirit is very weak, intellect talks between spirit and the body, and the bodily desires take you over. For example, you have to earn money, everybody has to earn money.
That's true.
But when bodily desires would take you over, you would not see whether it's halal or haram, because that's come from the spiritual knowledge. You see? So, then you can go and do corruption. Then you can lie and steal, cheat, do not do hard work in your office, because your purpose is to make money, not to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The best thing that I learned from my teachers, my mentors, Sheikh Taqi Usmani Sahab, Damat Barakatuhum, Mufti Rafi Usmani Sahab, to connect the spiritual knowledge to my intellect, and then my intellect translate my intellectual side onto my bodily desires.
All right. So, you kind of understood how to lead your life in 2013 when you got trained by all these Maulanas under different sessions, and you already had that, how should I say, Western or bodily training in different aspects, whether it be your CA or other matters, and you were heading different organizations. So, this kind of complemented all that you had learnt in the past, and you kind of took a new direction. In 2013, 2014, you founded the Darul Uloom Pakistan. When you founded Darul Uloom Pakistan, was this a decision that came to you all of a sudden, or was this something that you wanted to do since some time?
Again, when I was mentored by my teachers, when my last day in Darul Uloom, I went to Mufti Rafi Usmani Sahab and asked him what to do. He said that go into the field of education, the contemporary education.
All right.
And he wanted us, like, we've got lots of madaris over here, but now what you want to do is you want to go into contemporary education and make the environment religious over there, so that when you know the scholars, the day scholars, the students pass out from your institution, they are not only equipped with spiritual knowledge, they are also equipped with contemporary knowledge. True. This is the need of the time.
That is very important, I think.
For the sake of, you know, graduation or distinguishing two knowledges is okay, but I say all the knowledge that has been revealed in Quran or has been acquired by humanity, that is a beneficial knowledge, is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even according to our you know, faith, you know, there are sets of knowledge that are not beneficial, like jadoo or
magic, black magic.
Black magic. So we only have to refrain from those knowledges that are not beneficial, right? But then we have to go and acquire beneficial knowledge. And as a nation, where we lack, I believe, as of today, is that we are you know, dividing. Not, I would not say dividing. We have two kinds of professionals available at this point, from Mudaris as well as from the universities. We really need to merge them together.
That's very important.
And to create a complete educational environment that creates great personalities like Iqbal, like Muhammad Ali Jinnah, like Mufti Shafi Usmani, Mufti Taqi Usmani, like these great personalities that could provide us the vision and the leadership that was entailed in our you know, creation of Pakistan. Without that, it would not happen.
Yeah.
If we go and read out the speeches of Muhammad Ali Jinnah, it would seem that it was a speech by some kind of a Moulana, other than it was in English. Most of them were in English. Like when he put the case of Pakistan, we were a religious minority in the
subcontinent.
In the subcontinent. But he made a case over there, telling the people that look, we are a minority, but not a minority alone. We are a nation as well.
That is true. Now let's fast forward to 2013, 2014, when you formed the Darul Uloom Pakistan. You also formed an educational institution under the Darul Uloom Pakistan that is called the Medina Islamic School. Now, what were the objectives of this Medina Islamic School? What did you want to achieve by creating this institution?
In a few words, I would say that I wanted to recreate that educational system that was created by the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That is why I said I named it Medina Islamic School. The same environment. I wanted to give the same environment. I know I will never be able to give the same environment. This is a disclaimer because that was being led by the greatest human being of our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But you know, again, our destiny should be the best.
At least we should aim for the best. I think that's very important.
Yeah. So I wanted to create an Islamic schooling system that would not only like when the students pass out from this institute, they can understand Quran, they can understand the Hadith, they can understand the jurisprudence, they have the ability to read and go through all the jurisprudence, then they have an ability to understand the modern law, they have the ability to understand the modern social education system, and then correlate it with that system and keep the good things of the modern education system and change the not so good things with the teachings of Islam.
There's one thing that you talked about in the beginning of the show, that was counseling, educational and career counseling. Now, when you talk about this Medina Islamic School and all that you want to achieve through it, not everybody is competent to go through and to understand all of these facets of education. Do you select your pupils when they come to the school that, all right, I'll interview all the students who want to go through this institution, and let's see if he is competent enough to understand all these different facets, whether it be jurisprudence, hadith, or Islam, and the sciences, and then come up to be a better professional and a better person as well.
Since this school is in its initial stages, it's just 5 years that we have started off this education system, it will grow. At this level, because there are small children that have been admitted, our selection criteria is very, very lenient.
All right.
And
but I think in the long run you want to become more strict as far as who comes in this institution, so that the people who come out of it are not only better persons but also stronger individuals and professionals.
I would not leave the leniency of, because if I become non-lenient, I would, I definitely, I'll kill the opportunity of the weaker ones.
All right. You want to give opportunity to everybody.
Everyone, education for all.
MashaAllah, I mean that is excellent, because I think you're also organizing a faculty that will reach out to a level of excellence in the fields of education that will not only be limited to the contemporary education but also to the Sharia education. And you talked about 4 branches when I was, of course, during the interview, and before that as well, you talked about tafsir, hadith, fiqh and aqidah. And then of course you talked about the contemporary education, that is literature, science and philosophy. I mean, you kind of mix and match all of these so that one comes out of an institution a more learned person in all aspects of life. It's not an easy task, Sandhu Sahab, is it?
Yeah, I might not even be able to complete even 1/4 of it in my life. Like, I want to create an institution that works on the same principles even if I go from this world. So, I have an example of Darul Uloom Karachi. Mufti Shafi Sahab, my grandfather Ustaz, created that institution way back a few decades ago. At that time it was, it just started from 2 or 3 classes, just Hifz class. But now if you see Darul Uloom Karachi, they've made a very, very good school, Hira Foundation, that is run by Dr. Imran Usmani. He is also one of my mentors.
But Sandhu Sahab, this brings me to a very interesting question. We've had so many important Muslim scientists centuries ago who did innovations in maths, in sciences, but we don't find them today. The West, in fact, took examples of our Muslim scholars and scientists and emulated them, and now we don't see any great Muslim scholars or scientists emerging. All we see are the Western scientists. What is the basic reason behind that?
Well, that's what I'm saying. That is what I'm saying, honesty.
We lack that in your point of view, all right.
And where will we get the honesty from? We are going to get the honesty from the example of our Holy Prophet.
Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam.
From example of Umar, Abu Bakr, Usman, Ali radiyallahu ta'ala anhum, the Sahaba. Whatever they did, they were very weak as a society, but what kind of thing they created just in a matter of, what was the difference? Why their hearers became scientists? Because they were knowledge friendly people. Now we only go to universities as everybody go, that is what I was referring to before, just for making money. Like if we stop worshipping money, just leave it there as a medium of exchange.
So, are we lacking in something that we are no longer producing those scholars, those scientists that were so prominent a few centuries back that the West has emulated? Why? What is the reason that we don't have that level of scholars, that level of scientists, mathematicians nowadays from the Muslim world?
Yes, definitely, because we don't follow those great people like Hazrat Umar, Hazrat Abu Bakr, Hazrat Usman, Hazrat Ali, Hazrat Hassan, Hazrat Hussain. These were the people that were trained by Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and from those main, like that was the trunk, and the branches that came out was Ibn Sina, and all those great scholars that came out in the Muslim history. The basis was that honesty that they inculcated in them. They never were greedy. They didn't have a greed to earn money. Rather, they thought that they were responsible to make the society great, not for the personal greatness, but the social greatness that they had planned. So I would definitely say that we really need our religion, that is the from Quran and Hadith and the Sunnah and the jurisprudence, inculcated on one side into the constitution, into the law, into the environment, and then the output would be great personalities like Qaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah, Allama Dr. Muhammad Iqbal, Mufti Shafi, and all those great founding fathers of our nation that we somehow we lost our track. We did the right thing, we created Pakistan, and then we lost the track.
One should look firstly at oneself and try to make oneself better rather than point the fingers at others. As they say, when you point one finger at the other, 4 fingers point at you as well. So you need to look at oneself, do introspection, self-introspection, to see how you can become a better person, because when you become a better person, then the others around you will also become better, because they will see you as that example that they can also follow and learn from. You also do your educational research and training in the different subjects, whether it be tafsir, hadith, fiqh and ahadith, and you've also been given the permission to teach hadith and tafsir from different Moulanas in different educational institutions. When you go, sir, to these institutions, what are the basic questions that the students ask you as far as hadith is concerned, as far as tafsir is concerned? When you teach them that, what is the basic question that comes always from the students?
This is the basic problem that lie. Mostly we think that Quran and Hadith is only about faith. Most questions that come from people is about faith, and maximum they would go, can we eat this or can we eat that? Is this prohibited? Is that prohibited? Or about like very basic questions. What I would really like the students to ponder upon is, other than that those are very important and basic questions, but other than that, what are the rules of doing transactions in Islam?
All right.
What are the rules of business that were taught by the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? What was the practice? How would they give loan and not take interest and yet be financially feasible?
That is just
viable.
One of the so many things that one needs to learn, in fact.
Right. Then going on, like it's a 5-story building that our religion teaches us. The faith is the basement. or the ground story. Worship is the second story. The third story, as it goes, it gains height. The third story, I would say, would be business. The fourth story would be ethics and values. What are the Islamic values and what are the Islamic ethics? And then what is the Islamic society? What are the social norms of an Islamic society that are creeping out slowly and steadily? We are being injected by many unsocial norms of other societies. Like I passed by so many people today, but nobody said salam. I only
that's a very small thing, in fact, to say salam to a stranger.
It's an easy thing to do, but it's not a small thing. It's an easy thing. I would not say it's a small thing. It's a big thing. It's a big thing. It's an easy thing, but a big thing. So, I've been living in Islamabad. Few years ago, say 20 years ago in Lahore, everybody knew each other, what was going on in everybody's house.
But now this kind of society has also changed with the generations.
We used to peep inside of the window of my friend's house, but now we have a window that makes you peep through somebody in the US or somebody in Europe
through the mobile phone
on the Facebook. So we don't know what's going on around us. So the society is disintegrating. We have to work on it. I would like students to ask questions how to reintegrate the society, and then of course
how to make society a real society. In fact, that's very important.
The highest story, the politics. Somehow religion has completely creeped out of our political norms. I would really like the politicians to ask questions, how to be religious as well as political at the same time.
All right. Well, Sheikh Imran Sandhu Sahab, how do you foresee the future of your organization that you've created, Darul Uloom Pakistan, the school that you've created, the Medina Islamic School? Do you want to create more such organizations around Pakistan and maybe in other countries as well, to make the future generations more aware of religion and how to properly integrate religious sciences and social sciences and the mathematics and other subjects that are taught in the West as well, so that the professionals that come out are sound professionals in all sense of the word?
Specifically speaking, I would like 2 billion Muslims and 6 billion human beings to be invited to come with me and create such an institution.
All right, wonderful. Thank you so very much, Sheikh Imran Sandhu Sahab. Ladies and gentlemen, it was a very interesting conversation that I had with Sandhu Sahab. We talked about how his transition took place as well, from a professional who was studying other fields, and then he integrated the religious sciences, and how he became a better person, a better professional, and is now trying to inculcate that in the new generations in Pakistan, and I hope in other countries as well, as he has indicated, in the whole Muslim Ummah. Let's hope, let's wish and let's pray that we become better individuals by not only properly understanding what society is all about, but also properly understanding what our sciences and religion teach us, and mix and match and inculcate all of that so that we become better persons. And in that case, while we are becoming better persons, we make the persons around us better individuals as well. That creates a better society. I'll end this with a little quote that says, "The greatest discovery of my generation is that human beings can alter their lives by altering their attitudes of mind." It's all about that. Alter your attitudes of mind, alter that and become better individuals by mixing the religion and the sciences. So Khalid Bhat bids you farewell from this episode of Sky's the Limit. Imran Sandhu Sahab, thank you very much to have joined us. We'll be back inshallah next week, same time, same channel. Take care of yourselves. Allah Hafiz.